Hey guys! Before we get started, I wanted to remind you to check out the description box for extra info, links, and goodies. And I would love to hear about any discoveries, insights, or questions that may arise during your movement explorations today in the comment section below. Please subscribe to my channel for weekly yoga and mindful movement classes and tutorials. Okay, that's all for now. Let's get started with today's practice, One Love. Hi everyone! And welcome to Awakening the Shoulders. Today let's start laying flat on the back. And we're just going to settle here for a few moments, connecting to the breath. So today we're going to be exploring movement of the shoulders, movement of the arms in relation to the rest of the body, movement of the shoulder blades. And the reason we're going to really dive into this is because a lot of people have upper back, neck issues, tightness, weakness, because of our modern lifestyle today. A lot of sitting, not a lot of lifting. And so today we really want to just wake up that area, see how it's moving, explore what it can do, explore some strength work, and really just see what's happening up there. So laying flat on the back, just taking a few more breaths, allowing the body to settle, letting go of the day thus far, really connecting to the body, connecting to the movement of the breath. From here, we're going to get a block, or if you don't have a block, you can grab a shoe, and we're going to hold it between the hands. From here, you can also bend the knees and plant the feet. And we're just going to play around with reaching that block or shoe up over your head. You're going to reach it up and then bring it back down. So we're just going to do this a few times, nice and slow, and I want you to notice how the arms are moving. Notice how the shoulder blades might be moving, so you can feel the shoulder blades move along your mat. I want you to notice how the core is engaging as the arms begin to move. It'll probably be a very gentle engagement, but see if you can sense what's happening. But also how the rib cage might want to jump in and help you get those arms over your head, right? So that would be a compensation happening there. So for this particular movement, we're interested in just the arms moving in the shoulder sockets and the shoulder blades moving to assist that. As soon as the rib cage starts to jump in, we're compensating, so we don't want that for this movement. So this is just to kind of see where we're at. So we don't have to get the block to the floor. The idea is just to move as far as we can move without the rib cage getting involved. So sitting up from here, we're going to come to a kneeling position, or any position that's comfortable for you, where you can sit up nice and tall. So if kneeling isn't comfortable, you can sit maybe on the edge of a chair. And we're going to do the same movement that we were doing laying down. So with the block or shoe in your hands, just reaching the arms overhead. And just notice how this might feel different a little bit. And try to create the same movement where you're not letting the rib cage get involved. So doing that just a few times. And we're going to lower the block down. And we're going to reach the arms directly forward in front of you, palms facing each other. And we're going to play around with protracting and retracting the shoulder blades. So all that means is that you're reaching the arms forward so that the shoulder blades begin to reach away from each other. And then think of reaching the arms back in towards the shoulder socket so that the shoulder blades come together in the back. So the shoulder blades are reaching away from each other and then they're pulling together. The arms are reaching away from you and then they're pulling back into you. So just again playing around with that movement. So that's beginning to move the shoulder blades. And we want to keep the arms parallel to each other. So notice if the arms kind of want to open up. We want to keep the arms parallel to each other. So from here, we're going to bring the shoulder blades to neutral, bring the shoulders to neutral, and we're going to play around with shoulder rolls. So I want you to reach the arms forward, so shoulder blades reach away from each other. Then reach the shoulders up towards the ears, straight up. We're going to retract the shoulder blades, reach the shoulder blades towards each other so the arms pull back, and then lower the shoulder blades down. And again, reach the arms forward, shoulders up to the ears, back, and down. So just playing around with this a few more times. Again, checking in with the arms. We want to try and keep them as parallel to each other as possible. Notice what's happening in the rib cage. We want to keep the rib cage quiet. So just moving as far as the rib cage stays quiet. And then reversing that so the shoulder blades reach towards each other, up, forward, and then down. So moving within a range where you're engaged, but you're not holding your breath, you're not gripping. There should still be a sense of ease. Yes, there's work happening, but you don't feel like it's overwhelming. Nice, so from here we can release the arms and just kind of shake them out. They might be a little tired. And we're going to do some arm circles, so just reaching both arms up and overhead and back and down. There's no real technique to this, just kind of moving the arms in nice big circles, about 4 or 5 times in one direction and then reversing that. The only thing that we are looking for is that we're not moving in the rib cage again. So you really want to isolate that movement in the shoulder area, the shoulder blades, the arms, not the rib cage, not the pelvis, right? So if we have to make the circles a little smaller, we can do that. So now we're going to do a little bit of wrist prep. So anytime we're doing push-ups, weight bearing on the arms, we want to make sure that we're warming up properly. So bringing the hands to the mat, you're going to walk the knees back a little bit, but not too much. We don't want to be in a tabletop here. We don't want to put too much weight onto the wrists. And we're going to make sure that the shoulders are directly over the wrists. And we're just going to rock side to side. So bring a little more weight into the right hand, a little more weight into the left hand, just gently rocking side to side. Nice and slow. So most of the weight is still in the legs, and we're just bringing a little weight into the arms. And you can adjust, the closer the knees are to your wrists, the less weight. The further they are back, the more weight into the arms. So just kind of finding that nice and easy place where we can begin to warm up. So also what we're going to do here is gently change the position of the arms, the hands on the mat. So you can turn the fingers out, turn them back towards you, turn the fingers to face inwards towards each other as you gently rock side to side. Go up onto the knuckles, go up onto the fingertips, change those positions so the fingertips are facing out, fingertips are facing in, fingertips are facing back towards you. You can come up onto one finger, come into funky shapes with the wrist where you're going onto the side of the hand, one side or the other side. So the idea with this is that the more areas that we put pressure, even if it's really light pressure to begin with, on any joint, so the more range of motion that we have available and the more strength we have in those ranges of motion, is the less likely we are to get injured, because we're able to support that movement, that joint at that angle. So this is a very gentle way of just putting the wrist in all different positions, gently putting pressure there. As soon as we have pressure in these areas, adaptation happens, we begin to build strength. So that's just a nice, easy way to begin to do that. So from here, we're going to plant the hands with the fingertips facing forward, and we're going to just lean in towards the wrists very gently. Lean in towards the fingertips. And as we lean in, I want you to notice if you feel pressure in the front of the wrist. So instead of leaning in and feeling that pressure, what we're going to do is gently press into the fingertips as we lean in. And notice how that little engagement keeps a little space in the front of the wrist so that we're not compressing there. Because that's what a lot of people complain about in yoga when we're doing a lot of planks and push-ups and chaturangas and etc., downward dog even, is that the front of their wrists start to hurt. And so what we want to do is begin to build that strength where we're not dumping all our weight into the wrist, we're not compressing the front of the wrist. So from here, just doing that a few times, from here we're going to do what I like to call wrist push-ups. So lifting the thumbs up off the mat so that we have 4 fingers on the mat. We're just going to lift the wrists up off the mat and lower them back down. Lift them up and slowly lower down, control down. So we don't want to plop back down, we want to control down. Just do this a few more times. We want to make sure that the shoulders maintain over the wrists. Reason being is that the position that we are when we're doing these exercises is the position that we're going to gain the strength. And this is the position that we're going to be in when we're doing our plank, when we're doing our push-ups. So that's the area, that's the position that we want to build that strength. Strength is very much specific to the position, right? So as soon as we change the position, we build strength in a different position. That makes sense. So this is the prep for our planks and for our push-ups. So this is the position that we want to build that strength in the wrists, or even handstands if you end up wanting to do handstands. Shoulders over wrists. So from here, we're nice and warmed up. We're going to walk the knees back so that we're in a tabletop position. So shoulders over wrists again, knees directly under the hips, so there's a slight space between the knees. And we're going to do shoulder blade push-ups. So similar to what we were doing when we were kneeling, when we were protracting and retracting the shoulder blades, reaching the shoulder blades away from you and then pulling them in towards each other. But we're going to do this on our hands and knees. So think of pushing the floor away, separating that space between the shoulder blades, protracting the shoulder blades, and then allowing the shoulder blades to sink in towards each other. And then pushing away, and then allowing them to come together. And just playing around with that, seeing what you find, what you feel, what wants to move, what feels tight, what feels weak. Nice. Keep pressing the floor away. Keep that idea also to press into the fingertips so that we don't compress in the front of the wrists. And then from here, we're going to come to a neutral place in the shoulders. And then we're going to do those same shoulder rolls. So pushing the floor away, allowing the shoulders to come up towards the ears, allowing the cut to go back, shoulder blades come in towards each other, and then back to a neutral place. Nice. So we're doing our shoulder rolls in a new orientation with a little weight in them. So pushing the floor away, shoulders come up towards the ears, shoulder blades come together in the back, and then they come down the back, coming to a neutral place. Nice. And then we reverse that. So shoulder blades come together in the back, up towards the ears. They press away from each other and then back to neutral. And always kind of checking in with that rib cage, checking in with the abdominals, with the core, noticing if there's kind of a leaking of energy there where maybe the abdominals are ballooning out, they're not quite hugging in. And if that's the case, I don't want you to think, oh, I just have to hug in and brace. I want you to find a position where you can find the engagement, maybe going back to, again, my gentle core connections class and working on those movements, working your way up to building the strength to be able to do other movements. So it's very much progressional. So you want to start where you are and work your way up to where you want to go, what you want to be doing. So from here, we're going to come to a neutral place in the shoulders, and you're going to bring the right hand behind the head without moving anything. Nothing moves. And you're going to open the chest to the right. Notice how much you open, and then you're going to reach that right arm in line with the right shoulder. So I don't want you to think of reaching the hand up to the ceiling. I want you to think of reaching the hand kind of out diagonally in line with that right shoulder. From here, you're going to reach that right arm under the left and reach out to the left. So you're not going to bring the shoulder down to the mat just yet. You're just reaching out to the left, and really imagine that you're reaching for something so that that right shoulder blade is reaching away from the spine, and you're reaching. And then we're going to reach back up, out to the right, opening the chest, and then reach under the left arm, out to the left. And again, up to the right, opening the chest, reaching to the left, reach even more, reach again, and then lower that right shoulder down to the mat and reach the left arm towards the front edge of the mat in line with your head. And just take a few breaths here. From here, we're going to make our way back onto our hands and knees. And then set up for the other side, so bringing the left hand behind the head and opening the chest to the left. Really pressing the floor away with that right arm, and then reaching the left hand in line with the left shoulder. So more of a diagonal up and out. From here, threading that left arm under the right, but not bringing the shoulder to the mat, just reaching to the right, reaching that left shoulder blade away from the spine. And then inhale and open up to the left and reach the arm out to the left. Exhale, reaching under and to the right. Reach. Inhale, up and out to the left. Exhale, to the right. We're going to reach, really reach the shoulder blade away from the spine. Reach a little more and then gently lower that shoulder down to the mat, reaching the right arm in front of you. Taking a few breaths here, allowing the body to settle for a moment. gently making your way back onto your hands and knees. From here, we're going to make our way over towards the wall or a couch. And we're going to place our hands on the wall or couch, or maybe the back of a chair or table, something that's fairly solid, is stable, because we're going to do some push-ups, so something that can bear your weight. And you're going to walk your feet back so that you're in one nice line from the heels up towards your head. So you're at a nice little diagonal here, and we're doing it at a wall or couch or chair or table, wherever you are, so that we are adding less weight to this push-up, so that you can really feel certain things that I want you to feel in the shoulder blades, right? So we're pulling back, we're not trying to go hard on the floor. I want you to really feel what's happening in the shoulder blades as we do these push-ups, and then work your way up to doing it on the floor. So that would mean hands maybe a little lower, maybe towards a coffee table or something lower, until eventually you make your way down to the floor. So what we want to do is hands in line with the shoulders, fingertips pointing forwards or up, and again the body's in one straight line. And I want you to think again of pushing the shoulder blades away from each other. So there's protraction, right? Shoulder blades are reaching away from the spine. And I want you to keep that idea as we lower and bend the elbows, lower towards the wall or couch, and bend the elbows until we lower about halfway. And then what I want you to think of as we lower the chest closer to the wall is this idea of the shoulder blades coming in towards each other. And then as we press away, we gently press away, and then the shoulder blades start to reach away from each other and then protract, and the elbows straighten. Right? So what I want you to think of as we do this, so oftentimes what happens is the shoulder blades sink in toward each other, and the front of the humerus, the arm bone, the top of the arm bone, starts to roll forward. So I'm just going to demonstrate that in the video you can watch. And instead we want to keep the fronts of the shoulders open, and instead the shoulder blades come in towards each other in the back, instead of dumping all the weight forward into the front of the shoulder, which isn't really designed to bear that kind of weight. There's not a lot of musculature there that's going to help, and a lot of people get injured by doing this too many times. So you want to think of instead keeping the front of the shoulders open, and then the shoulder blades come together in the back, and then we press away and the shoulder blades reach away from each other. So just doing that a few times and playing around with that idea, noticing the difference between shoulders rolling forward and shoulder blades coming together without the shoulders rolling forward, without dumping that weight into the front of the shoulders. So you want to do 6, 8, 10 of these or so. And when we're practicing our push-ups, our chaturangas, we want to be able to do about 6 to 8 of them in a row to be able to build the strength that we're looking for. So if we aren't able to do that when we're on the mat, flat, not on a wall or on a chair, it might mean that we haven't taken the steps to build up to that yet. So that is a little bit too much weight for us at this moment. So maybe pulling back and practicing at the wall, practicing on a chair, practicing on a coffee table, so that we have a little less weight to deal with, because the more vertical we are, the less weight there is pushing down into our arms. Do our 6 to 8 reps where maybe we feel a little bit fatigued at the end, but we're okay, so that we build our strength to be able to do it on the mat. It's just something to think about. So from here, we're going to lay flat on the back, so coming back to our mat, not the back, on the belly. So we're going to, again, get either your blocks or shoes, either one can work, and we're going to place them in our hands and reach the arms down alongside the body. From here, we're going to just lift the chest just a couple inches up off the mat and reach the blocks or the shoes up towards the ceiling behind you and gently lower down. And we're going to lift them up and gently lower down and up and down. So I want you to keep the back of the neck long, keep going, so we're not breaking the back of the neck, breaking that line. And I want you to see if you can feel an engagement in the abdominals so that we're not compressing in the lower back. Nice. And then from here you can release the blocks and bring your hands under your forehead, palm on top of palm, forehead down, and just take a little break. So just now we were doing pushing. Now this exercise targets the muscles of the opposite action, pulling, so the triceps. And in yoga in general, we don't do a lot of pulling. We do a lot of pushing in our chaturangas, but not a lot of pulling. So we find some imbalance there. So having strength in both directions creates balance, and you're able to build strength in both directions more efficiently. So let's get our blocks or our shoes and come back into our position with them down by our sides. Now we're going to lift our arms up off the mat behind us, open a couple inches, reach them away from each other, and then reach them towards each other as close as you can get them, and then lower back down alongside the body. Lift them up, open them wide, bring them together, and lower. Lift them up, open them wide, bring them together, and lower. Lift them up, open, bring them together, and lower. A couple more. Lift them up, open, bring them together, and lower. Lift them up, and we open, bring them together, and lower, and release. Hand on top of hand, forehead down, and relax. So this next exercise is really good, especially for those of us who might have rounded shoulders, rounded upper back, sitting a lot, closed in the front of the shoulders, maybe weak in the upper back, which is common in today's lifestyle. But what we're going to do is reach the arms out to the sides, palms facing forward, so the thumbs are pointing up towards the ceiling. And we're going to bring the forehead down to the mat. So there's an idea of a slight pulling in of the chin. From here, we're going to lift the head and the chest just a little bit. Hands stay down on the floor for now. Not a high lift, keeping that chin in. And then we're going to lift the thumbs, like you're trying to get the thumbs to reach the ceiling. Palms stay facing forward. Lower the hands down, and then lower the forehead down. And again, we lift head and chest, thumbs up, hands down, forehead down. Back of the neck stays long. And again, lifting up, thumbs up, hands down, forehead down, and up, thumbs up, down, forehead down. And we lift. Thumbs reach up, hands down, forehead down. Last time, lifting up, thumbs reach up, hands come down, forehead down, and release. Again, you can bring hand on top of hand, forehead on top of the hands. Let's take a little break here. Now setting up for part 2, you're going to reach the arms forward in front of you, but kind of out to the side. So you're creating a Y with the body. So the arms are reaching kind of diagonally forward. And the same position with the hands, with the thumbs reaching up to the ceiling, palms facing forward, forehead down to the mat, chin in slightly. And the same thing we're going to do. So lifting head and chest up. Thumbs reach up, hands come down, forehead down. Lifting up, arms reach up, arms come down, forehead down. And again, lifting up, arms reach up, forehead down, head comes down, lifting up, arms reach up, forehead down, hands come down. So doing about 2 more of these. And this is really good for beginning to strengthen those upper back muscles, beginning to open up through the chest as well. And just kind of move in an opposite way to how we are when we're sitting in our chair at an office, in the car, on the couch. And then from here, when you're done, placing the hand on top of hand, forehead down, just taking a few breaths. From here, let's plant the hands on either side of the rib cage and press up and back to a child's pose. So let's bring the toes, big toes together, knees open, hips sink back to the heels, and torso relax between the thighs. Let's bring the arms down alongside the body if that's okay for you. Another option is to bring the hands under the forehead, or you can even get a block under the forehead if you feel like the head is kind of dangling there. For some added support, get a block or pillow in front of you. And then when you're ready, making your way to a comfortable position for Shavasana. And whichever position you choose, making sure that you can find a sense of ease, a sense of relaxation throughout the body. So really make yourself comfortable. Allowing the body to settle and relax and soften. Finding some stillness. And taking a moment to notice how you feel now. How things may have shifted. What may have changed. And really just noticing what you notice. It's an exploration. It's about discovery. There's no right or wrong. There are no right or wrong movements. There are no right or wrong sensations, thoughts, emotions. So just noticing what you notice. So I encourage you to stay here for a couple more minutes, as long as you can. I'd like to thank you for sharing your practice and sharing your energy today. Have a great rest of your day. One love. Namaste.